All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Polzin with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the core plays here for Week 11. Tough to believe that we're already on Week 11, but it is here. All right, we're going to continue. We have actually a ton of great value on this slate, whereas last week it was a little bit more difficult, I would say. As a week as a whole, like, it was expected that there would be some slight misses here and there. This week, guys, there's just a lot of value that's going to be very easy to make a strong build. So I'm excited to show you guys that here as well. So if you guys enjoy this coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to put out more content for you guys. A lot of you guys did enjoy that FanDuel content. You'll be seeing a FanDuel's core plays video as well tomorrow morning. All right, so be on the lookout for that as well. All right, let's get into the top core plays for Week 11. So as always, going to start out with the quarterback position here. It's pretty simple to me. Yes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, going to be in good spots. You can pay up for them if you want to. Jalen Hurts, kind of same thing. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Justin Fields. Just running the ball a ton, gets a good matchup going against Atlanta. Should be a matchup in which he just continues to do what he's done. Now, we don't expect like 2 short rushing touchdowns. Okay, those could have easily went to David Johnson. And obviously, we're not expecting 40 DK points. I do think we can expect about 20. But eventually, a team is going to figure out how to stop the rushing upside from Justin Fields. It's just in a nice kind of stretch of the season. It was kind of expected that this would happen for the Bears offense when it went Miami, Detroit, and then Atlanta. It was kind of expected that this would happen, that they would be much better offensively because they just went through a rough stretch at the start of the season where they're playing good defenses. Now they're on the easy part of the schedule, so it wouldn't be shocking to see him have another good game just due to that rushing upside. But honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to afford to pay up for him, just given the fact that Dak Prescott is very cheap as well. 6.6 for Dak is going to be so cheap. He's throwing the ball a lot, threw the ball 46 times in the last game. Now, he didn't have to throw the ball a lot against Chicago, but he was still able to put up 26 DK points, put up 21 and 26 DK points the last 2 weeks. And now he gets what you could consider is the easiest matchup thus far since he's come back. Chicago's kind of beat up. They're kind of an easier defense to beat up on these days. But at the same time, it should be an easy matchup in general. Okay. Dak Prescott, probably going to get 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb looks great. He's going to be a core play as well. For now, I'm putting Dak in there. If you have the salary left over, sure, pay up for Justin Fields if you want to go that route. I'm perfectly fine with that as well. So on the slate, I don't know. I have been having a tough time paying up at the running back position this week because, we get some really cheap price point plays at the running back spot, starting out with Rhamondre Stevenson. Now, he becomes a much, much better play if Damian Harris is ruled out. They had the bye week, so I kind of expect Harris to be ready and active and ready to go. Okay, he will still get his touches. That would make Stevenson less of a lock. Okay. But at the same time, either way, Stevenson should be a strong price point play. Either way, he should still get those targets in the pass game. Maybe not 7, but maybe 5. I think we can expect 5. And if he's going to get right around, let's just say his minimum with Harris back is going to be 12 rushing attempts. That's still 17 opportunities at a very cheap price point going against the Jets who, I'm not going to say the Jets are tough or easy matchup. Because they've been good. We've been on the Jets saying that they've been a good team. They're an underrated team. They're a great defense. But still, he did just go for 21 DK points against them. So I do kind of expect Stevenson to have a good game. And then from there, you could certainly play Dameon Pierce if you want to. He was strange chalk last week. I thought that was kind of easier to fade chalk. You just look at Jeff Wilson, Devin Singletary. They're all cheaper than him and at extremely lower ownerships. That's just weird. And then speaking of Singletary, I think he's going to be a strong play as well. The expectation for me when we got that Josh Allen news is that probably Devin Singletary is going to step into more rushing touchdowns. And it was instantly, he got 2 rushing touchdowns. So he is someone that's already playing a lot of snaps, over 70% of snaps with a cap at 80% of the snaps. Okay. Not getting used in the passing game a lot. Last week, you would have thought so with a high scoring game that he would have got a few more targets and a few more receptions in general. But still, 15 opportunities in that game. I think that's kind of the max that we're going to get from him. But obviously, in a great matchup going against Cleveland, that is a matchup that you want to be attacking. It has been the whole season. That hasn't really changed too much. And then obviously, he's in one of the best offenses in the league. So Devin Singletary at 5.8 is a very cheap price point. If I played him last week against Minnesota, I'm still going to think about playing him this week against the Cleveland Browns, which is obviously a great matchup. And then from there, guys, I'm fine with Donta Foreman. I'm fine with Kenyon Drake. He could be someone if Gus Edwards hits, that's everyone's looking at, playing 68% of the snaps with Gus Edwards out. But if Gus Edwards active, he's someone you could look at. There's a lot of okay price plays. I will say this is more for the value plays video, but Tyler Algier was the leading snap getter last week for the Atlanta Falcons. He's looked good. Didn't look good last week. Okay, let's just take that off the board. None of the running backs looked good last week. He actually played more, I think, because he's their best blocking running back, which is strange to say because he got blew up a few times. Okay, it was just kind of a bad week for their offense, mostly in general. But they still get a good matchup this week against the Bears. I think that's going to be a great chance to be on some players for the Falcons. So he's more of a value sleeper play that I'll touch on in that video, but he is someone you can end up on if you need the salary savings as well. And then Antonio Gibson. I'm very curious about this one as well. Going against the Houston Texans, a matchup that you've been wanting to target this whole season. Now, I'm recording this video before Monday Night Football, so if something happens to Gibson or Robinson, then you just pivot to the other one. But with J.D. McKissic out, Antonio Gibson is expected to be in that, receiving down back, getting a lot of targets. Okay, so he should have a nice floor. And he saw 58% of the snaps the last time that I saw the Commanders play. So we'll have to see what happens on Monday Night Football, what the snap count share is. But as it sits right now, Gibson would be that running back that you want to play, given the targets, given the rushing attempts, and given the matchup. Given that price point, should be a great play for you on this slate. So from there, we can finally start to pay out for some players, but we don't have to go crazy. Like I will say, Diggs is like the one player that I feel comfortable paying up for on this slate. A very cheap price point for a guy that's been extremely consistent. Sure, that Browns defense has been able to hinder some production here and there, but still, he's a player that I think will be able to get to 20 DK points easily. We can see consistently gain over 10 targets per game. He is kind of that offense right now. So yes, someone you can easily play. And I think you can fit him in there pretty easily. If I like Dak Prescott, I easily like CeeDee Lamb as well. We clearly just saw Diggs go off against the Minnesota Vikings. So CeeDee Lamb, someone that has already consistently been getting the targets and has had consistent production this whole season, I expect him to have a great game against the Vikings. Like it should be there. With Dak back, with him airing it out a little bit more, I like to see that. So given the matchup, and it is a pretty cheap price point, sure, he's starting to get up there now. But he should be able to go off. Like it just should be there. So I feel pretty comfortable paying up for both of those two receivers. The issue with that is we have some pretty good quality value out there. A lot of people are probably going to go to Allen Robinson with Cooper Kupp potentially sitting out. You could do that, I guess. Jacoby Myers could certainly have a nice floor game. Once again, he has been a safe, consistent fantasy producer this whole season. But the player I'm going out of my way to play thus far this week is Drake London, going against those Chicago Bears, a defense that we have been targeting a while now, since they made those trades to their defense. You guys are probably sick of hearing me say that, but it's true. It's been a matchup you've been wanting to target. St. Brown went off against the Bears last week, as expected. Drake London is the receiver number one in this offense. He was really the only good part to this offense last week. Had 6 targets, 5 receptions, and a touchdown. Okay, he has looked good this season. I talk about teams going through rough stretches of schedules. That happened for the Falcons. They are on the uptick of a good schedule right now. Going against the Chicago Bears, this should be a matchup in which their offense should be able to produce. Now, Marcus Mariota has been someone that has looked sharp this whole season, and then last week on Monday Night Football just looked completely terrible. Okay, so if we get that Mariota again, that would hurt Drake London for sure. Obviously, Mariota is not passing the ball enough to really make it so 2 pass catchers are hitting value, but just the price point of London, given the matchup and given the targets that should be there, he should still get at least 5 targets, playing a lot of snaps, 85% of the snaps. He's a play that I like. Okay, I expect to see more of what we saw at the beginning of the season rather than what we're seeing right now. My biggest issue with London, and once again, these are plays for the value plays video, is that we have a ton of great value on the slate as it sits right now. Ben Skoranek here, guys. Holy crap. This should be a strong value play. Saw 7 targets last week, okay, and he played in 98% of the snaps. This is gonna make some people like cringe probably, but he is a very poor version of Cooper Kupp. Like the way that they use him. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the same athletic ability and route running as Cooper Kupp, but I think you guys get the point as to which I'm trying to make here. They might slot him into some of those manufactured touches that went to Cooper Kupp. They could easily go to Skoranek. And given the fact that we did see him get 7 targets, we have seen him be a valuable asset already this season. It just makes sense at 3.9. Even the matchup, I like the matchup as well. So at that price point, he is someone I will be looking at as a value play. And then another one, this is definitely more for the value plays video, but kind of given the price point, Kendall Hinton. He could be a very interesting play. He is also someone that played in 90% of the snaps last week. It's more guaranteed that those snaps are going to be there again this week, but going against the Raiders, I like that. We could see a lot more 3 receiver sets. Now, KJ Hamler needs to be inactive once again, but at 3.6, he could be someone you're looking at. Had 10 DK points last week, 5 targets. Could be a sneaky value play on this slate. And then looking at the tight end position, okay, there are a lot of okay plays. Like you can play Cole Kmet, you can play Gray Dulcich, Foster Moreau. Like I love those plays. Okay, I do. Like those guys would be considered kind of core plays to me as well. If we get news that Mark Andrews is going to sit, Isaiah Likely is going to be someone that's going to be very tough to pass up on at 3.6. We already know the receiving abilities. A former receiver turned tight end in the NFL. We've seen him have 2 pretty good games against 2 defenses that he shouldn't have had good games against. Tampa Bay obviously really went off, and then the Saints only 1 reception, but it was a touchdown. Okay, he is something that I think you would kind of just have to look at. At the same time, we could find another former receiver that's playing tight end, and he could be a great play. Now, you guys heard me talk about Tanner Hudson the last 2 weeks with Daniel Bellinger out, and it's worked. Price point wise, it's worked. Last week we saw Lawrence Cager come in and get a touchdown. Look good on that touchdown, might I add, but he saw 65% of the snaps. And I typically like to pay down at tight end. Okay, that allows me to afford to pay up for the stud. At 2.5, if Daniel Bellinger is ruled out again, I think we can expect him to get 2 targets, or not 2 targets. Oh, yeah, at least 2 targets again. Game script wise, going against Detroit, that's a much more intriguing game as well. Poor pass defense, poor rush defense for that matter as well, but poor pass defense. So he is someone that is very intriguing. If he gets those 65% snaps again, it's going to be tough to pass up on. Then Kyle Granson, I do want to point out as well, 2.9 cheap price point for a guy that they had liked in the preseason. It seemed like they wanted to get him more involved. Yeah, they're 2 kind of starting tight ends dealing with an injury. So we need those guys to be, hindered or banged up or out again. And if that happens again, like at this price point, it'd be a cheap price point tight end play that you could easily go with on this slate as well. On defense, I think I like the Steelers, guys. Going against the Bengals, a divisional matchup. We saw them play against them earlier this season. They had 26 DK points. That was great. Actually, in week 1, I remember being on them that week. They got their best player back. You could argue he's the best defensive player in the league, and they look good against the Saints. Now, yes, it's the Saints offense, but they struggled. They were shut down. 2.3, a cheap price point for them. And then obviously we'd have to figure out where we would want to go, where we'd want to pay down with this build specifically. I don't know. You could go to Algier from Gibson if you wanted to. That's a route that you could go. A lot of people are going to like Darius Slayton on this slate. Not terrible, playing 85% of the snaps. Obviously he gets a great matchup as well. Could go that route. Not a terrible start, but let's try a different lineup as well, just to give you guys 2 first look builds. Oh man, I thought we had it there. I was going to say Ben Skoranek here. That'd be perfect. You could go Kendall Hinton, I guess. Let's try to fit Skoranek in there with Fields is what I'm trying to get at. I mean, I guess the simple solution here would be to go to Pierce from Stevenson. Not terrible. A pretty good first look build. You guys get the route, the lineup path that I'm trying to go, the route that I'm trying to get you on for, at least right now. Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you guys did enjoy the coverage, you know what to do. Please give me a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to help you guys out more. That helps me be able to put up more content for you guys. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out some more FanDuel content because people like that. So I will be doing that a little bit more for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you did, give me a like and subscribe. If you guys want to become a 9 to 5 member, get access to the PGA golf package as well as the add-ons for NBA and NFL that's available for $10 a month. All right, thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.